Hey guys, welcome back to SureFire Live. It's a new year, and it's our first time back. I hope you had a great end of year, and you know we're almost 2 weeks into the new year now. So for me, it's now time to get planning again. I hope everybody had time to relax and time to kind of rejuvenate. I know I did. I know I was getting a little tired toward the end of the year. I felt a little, weight on me and a little bit of burnout. And now after a couple of weeks, I'm ready to get back at it. And so welcome. We've got a little nice group growing here tonight. And tonight, a special friend of mine, Chuck Hall, is going to join us and talk about several things, business, and also the importance of local and national guilds. And then upcoming event that he helped get put on, and I'm going to be part of it. So very excited about that. So guys, as you know, this is a two-way conversation, and I want to hear from you. I see Tommy Nelms coming in, says hello from God's country. Some call it Tennessee. Hello, Tommy. Tommy's part of this upcoming symposium I'm going to be talking about. Tommy is an amazing speaker and an amazing individual, just himself. And so for some reason, again, I get some of my comments on my phone, and some of my comments are on my live feed, and I can post them. So I'll have to read some of them, and I'll have to post others. So with that being said, let me bring on Mr. Chuck Hall. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, man. Great to be here.
Yeah. How are you tonight?
Great. Just like you said, towards the end of the season, we were getting down to the wire whether we were going to make our goal or not make our goal. So I was on pins and needles, and I'm really glad that I had about a week off, and now we're back at it because I don't know about you, but my phone's still ringing off the hook.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about business for a minute. Okay, you said something that's very important to me. You said we had a goal. We set a goal, and we are shooting for it. And how important is that in your business? And if people don't know, most people know you, but just give a little update, who you are, where you work out of, how long you've been in business, and then goals, for your company.
Chuck Hall, Winston's Chimney Service, Washington, D.C. metro area, and going to be 33 years in business this year. But as I tell people, I did it not correctly for the first 24. I made a huge amount of mistakes. I'm still making mistakes every single day. And that's the great thing about business is you can make mistakes and still stay in business as long as they're not huge ones. So our goal this year was 8 million. We're a bigger company. We have 57 employees, and it's a lot to deal with, but it's easier. And I've heard you say it before. It's easier than when I was running 5 trucks, because when I was running 5 trucks, it was me at the top. And then I had an office manager, and I was doing everything, and I was wearing all the hats. Now it's more about managing my team and managing the people that I have coming in and helping my team, because my team can't do it all ourselves. So we've got a fractional CFO. We've got some people, Joanna Quintero, that's going to be on the symposium. She does systems and processes for us. And she's the one that writes up all, a lot of these things. Anyway, it's a lot to deal with all these people, because you hear lots of voices you know. And
Yeah,
when they're looking,
there's a lot of advice out there, and
yeah,
I did a podcast on it this week about how you gotta be a little bit you gotta watch who you listen to sometimes. So there's some guys out there that talk a lot, but it depends on what you want. My recommendation is follow the ones who have the business like you want. If you want, you make sure when you're listening to somebody, do a little research as to who their company is, like what size they are. Like if you're trying to replicate them, follow them. If you're trying to be above them, or if you're trying to be below them, listen. I think you just got to listen to the right advice, because there's a lot of it out there. And so back to goal setting. So, our numbers, you just stated a number that not that long ago is unbelievable, right? Just
I
a couple of
know.
years, it's unbelievable. And so what would you say, how important is setting these goals? How often do you hit them, miss them? And then what could you even do it if you didn't set goals? Like, I don't even know if it could work if you don't set goals.
Even when we were smaller, we always had goals. That was something that was taught to me by, my mentor, who helped get me started in business, Marty Fuller, and he was all about the numbers. He's a numbers guy, and he said you got to run your business by the numbers. Which I didn't take any of that advice for 24 years, but I did take advice about setting goals. And then you hear lots of people talk about it. The goals are the roadmap. If you don't know where where you're shooting for, where you're trying to end up, you're never going to get there. So they're extremely important.
Do you share those goals with your team? Like, does everybody know the goal?
So that's a great question. And a lot of people, they don't want to talk about that too much. We talk about the top line goal, and then we talk about the gross profit goal. We don't talk about the net goal, which we missed that by 2%.
Sure.
This year. It's a bummer. It's just the way it went. COVID happened. Dog ate my homework and everything else. I missed my net goal. Somebody said, and it might have been my fractional CFO, it was because of the CEO's spending. And that might have happened.
I almost always hit our gross goal and miss our net goal because of me.
Yeah. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But the gross profit goal is something that we share because we're trying to get our teams to buy in to, we're trying to be efficient. We're trying to do all the right things, but we have to watch, our costs, and we have incentives in place when the team meets the goals.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how you do it without doing it. We've always had goals, and sometimes we don't hit them. Like you said, you had goals that you didn't hit, but gosh, you sure are a lot closer. And then when you look backwards, the numbers that are starting to happen in this industry have never happened before. It's a unique time in history. The last 5 to 8 years, especially maybe 10, has just been unprecedented, and it's exciting. And there's a lot of younger guys, haven't been to me, younger guys been in business 10 years or less, that are just taking all this information and running and most importantly acting on what they're hearing. And so, how important to you was industry education? Like we're going to talk about your MACA symposium and national of groups of people. How important has that information been in your success with your business?
Well, there wasn't as much of it, and I wasn't involved in it for the first 24 years. That was a big problem. And I didn't really get involved in it until much later. So once I got involved in it and I met you and Hope Stevenson and a bunch of other people, Jerry Eisenhower, he helped out, at the beginning. I kind of outgrew him, but he taught me some great things.
Yeah.
He was big on the numbers. Very important. It's got really important for me. And now I can't live without it. I need new information all the time. The way that I'm doing it is changing all the time. It certainly changed for all of us with COVID. Everything changed. So I had to up my game. I'm reading books. I've been reading books, since I met you on
Mhm.
business. Before that, I didn't read any books on business, but
It's just so
um,
important.
it's 100%. You need new information in all the time so that your mind works instead of the old way that I did it, which is keep your head down and just swing like this, and you don't get very far.
I think probably most of the people that are listening to this are, engaged in, opening their minds, getting more information. If you didn't, you wouldn't turn this on and you keep watching TV or doing whatever you would do. But people that are watching, I'm going to assume that you're in the same mindset as Chuck and I, is that we don't know it all at all. But we're not afraid to make mistakes and go through it and just go through the fire. And, but through that, through, these groups and through like our mixed group, you and I are getting ready to go on an event with a group. We've been involved in these groups all the time, and the importance of that, that camaraderie, but also sometimes criticism and sometimes being hard on each other is absolutely what we need as business owners, because nobody else is really that critical of us, right? We're the kings.
Yeah, I call myself the king at the office. They love it.
Yeah.
They love it. I'm sure they don't.
Yeah.
Not really, but it's extremely important to it's the peer group, and your parents said it. Hang out with losers, you're going to be a loser. Hang out with winners, you're going to be a winner. And I'll say this to everybody in this that's listening, watching, whatever it is, whatever group it is, whether it's the Rotary Club, it's a BNI group, it's on the board, one of the boards that we have, or a board somewhere else for some charity, that you're involved with. These people that are on the boards and that are in some of these groups are winners. Find the one that's the winner, get next to that person, and it will rub off.
Yeah.
And if that's not your thing, I don't know what else to tell you. That's the way that I did it, and it works.
It's the fastest way to succeed, is just copy somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, everything that I've done, pretty much, I saw it from somebody else and I've kind of moved it into my thing, tweaked it a little bit. And if you want to go fast, just attach yourself to somebody that's in front of you and listen to them, ask them questions, and learn from them. Don't waste their time, and get next to them, like you said. And there's something magical that happens just because you all of a sudden you start talking like them, or when you have a mentee, they'll start talking like you, and you'll see them say what you said. And I mean, that's what we're here for. So let's talk about the importance of local and state guilds. Tell everybody kind of how you're involved with that, what you do, and the importance of that.
So right now, and for a long time, I've been president of the Mid-Atlantic Chimney Association, and it used to be the Virginia Association, but Maryland didn't have an association, Chimney Association. DC, Delaware, West Virginia. We're just trying to bring everybody in, and to join our Mid-Atlantic Chimney Associates, only $50. I mean,
Nice.
we made it so super cheap. And the idea was, if you pay your $50, then you have access to, all the email events, all the email we send out, all the events. We have reciprocating memberships with Pennsylvania and New York. I even think with the North Carolina and South Carolina guys, we talk back and forth. We try not to have events step on each other, because we want everyone to get as much education as possible. And education is the key, whether it's educating your technicians to be the best technicians, because as far as I'm concerned, when you and your guys that are technicians, the better inspectors that you are, the better salesperson you're going to be. You're going to sell what needs to be sold. You're going to know what you're talking about. You're going to deliver a better end result and end product for your client, which is going to mean better referrals, better reviews, and it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. So education is the key.
I couldn't agree more. Kyle German said, hi, Kyle. For some reason, your messages are coming up on my phone. And he said, what about New Jersey? I don't know if they have a state or local guild.
I think they do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mike Segerstrom. Find Mike Segerstrom
Yeah.
or Billy Stacks, Bill Ryan, find those guys and they'll hook you up.
Yeah, I think they do, but I can't remember seeing a lot about it. I know there is a lot in the Northeast, and there's so did were you part of it when they kind of combined? And back to, why do you think why can't we just get the information from Facebook, or why can't we? So Thomas says he said not active in New Jersey, so maybe that's the case. Why do we need a guild? Why do guilds seem like an older thing? Guilds seem like a thing that they're for the most part, a lot of them are not necessarily thriving in any industry. Guilds, they aren't, but in our industry they're still important, and the regional and local guilds, some of those guys really have a tight bond. Why do you think those are important?
Well, to me, it's all about getting the information out there to the boots on the ground. That's what it's about. It's educating owners, managers, technicians. And if we can do that, then they're going to be more successful. The problem is not everybody. Remember back in the day when it was hard to scrape up the extra money to go to the national convention. Mm-hmm. It was tough. It was a lot of money. And, sometimes you made it and sometimes you didn't. And when you did, you realized, wow, this is the mother lode. I'm drinking out of a fire hose here.
Exactly.
And it's not just the classes, it's all of the cool people that you meet there. And our industry is different than any other industry. We have the nicest people in the world in our industry. They will sit there and tell you exactly how they did it, as you have been doing for years.
A couple comments. Jason Avery says, hey, Jason, he says, fully agree about the inspector. You're talking about how important the inspector is. And then Jason says, and he's in New Jersey. I don't believe New Jersey currently is active, but we had a rip and replace seminar at our shop today. Yvette Abe says, guild unite like-minded people in the trade with a venue to group, discuss, and create relationships. For me, the local guild, why it's so important is you have local concerns and the same thing. Like, I could come from Nashville and I could talk, but if I'm talking in the Northeast about how we do stuff in Nashville, that's very different. I don't deal with the weather. I don't have the same codes. The houses aren't the same. The chimneys aren't the same. And so I think the local and regional guilds are so much more important. I mean, the national guilds are important, but the local and regional, you get a lot more like-minded people. Now, you want to have people from the outside to come in and help, but in general, you guys are talking the same language.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I didn't think about any of that. I'm not as smart as you are.
Jason said with Bill and Mike, I guess they did that rip and replace. Yvette says small or large, they are a benefit to tradesmen and women. And Jason says more are coming. I guess sounds like coming up there. Kyle German says, like the Master Hearth license needed in New Jersey soon. Right. That's different there. We don't have that in Tennessee. Do you have that in Virginia, or you have something like that in Virginia?
So we have apprenticeship programs. It's if Jim Bostaff was on here, he'd talk more about it. I'm not currently enrolled with any of my guys in the apprentice thing, even though I was involved with it, 10 or 15 years ago when we were trying to get it off the ground. You have to pull a permit in Virginia, not necessarily, and in Maryland, actually, if you're going to touch the thimble. And if you're going to put a wood stove in, you need to have a master mechanical license. And to put a gas fireplace in, you have to have a master mechanical license. In order to change out parts and pieces on gas fireplaces, you're supposed to have, a plumbing license or a master mechanical. It's nuts. So we are dealing with different things in different regions for sure.
I just got a message from Chad Murray that he's trying to comment, but it's not showing up. It's not showing up on my phone. That last one did, but I think I've got some kind of problem with my messaging. So I really appreciate the message. For some reason, I know I'm not getting them all, so don't feel slighted. So
I'm blocking Chad from here.
So Yvette says, Yvette, I'm so glad you're on here, by the way. If you don't know Yvette, she is a sweetheart, and she's been in the industry for quite a while and is a true giver. And we miss her with COVID and everything. You don't get to see our friends from Canada, but she said it gives us a venue to discuss our own regional issues. And if we attend the nationals, we can compare countrywide similarities and similarities and differences. If it can make us stronger as a whole. Yeah. And then Murray said Chuck, and then he gave you a laughy face and an exclamation point. So, so what does it mean to be the president of your guild? What does that do?
No, nothing.
Right.
Exactly. I don't do anything. Jim does everything. He's our executive director. He does everything. All I do is help organize our board when we are talking about events. So we meet 4 times a year and we talk about what kind of events do we want to do. We want to bring events to our area. We want to bring the CSIA in. We want to bring, Copperfield in. National Chimney Supply is our prime sponsor. They help out and help reduce the cost for us. They've been fantastic. So, as a guild, when you're bringing, people in, unless you've got a prime sponsor like that and some of our other great sponsors, things are really expensive. So we're trying to keep, the price down, and then people don't have to travel as far. Then maybe they can drive. We try to put them down in Richmond and up in DC and then in different places. So you can drive. And if you want to take if it's a hands-on, you can take a bunch of guys and it's not going to be expensive, or you're just going to take 3 people and it's not going to be as expensive.
Right. Yeah. And I think too, if you have a company and you've got employees, I think it's important to take them to events because, a lot of times it's just the owner showing up because it's expensive to take employees but you gain so much more as a company to bring maybe not everybody, but at least a big core group of people to something that you want to see and then take back. And regional and local guilds make that a lot easier so that you guys are all rowing in the same direction. If I go to an event by myself, which I do quite a bit, and then I try to bring it back to my company, if the other people were there, they may have seen something completely different. They were in a different classroom. They had a different conversation. I'll bring back one small part of what I thought was important. But if I can bring a team back and then we convene on, hey, what did you guys find? What do we need to know? Kind of have a debrief. I think you get a lot more out of those conferences. Jason Avery said, we're going to have licensing in New Jersey just because a couple stove shops wanted to install gas line. Now every sweep installer liner guy will need to be MHP and get a license to work on basically anything. It's nuts. And it was totally mishandled. Yvette, she's been in the business 45 years. Benjamin Cross says NCSG should put together templates for educational programs for local guilds. That's a great idea. Benjamin Cross is so smart. Thank you, Benjamin. I agree with that. I'm not part of that organization, but that's a great idea. Lou says, what exactly Lou was asking Ben what he meant by a template. I think what Benjamin is saying is, hey, is there a template that works? Is there a way to help these local guilds put on education? And I know, that's kind of what CSI is doing with MACA right now. We have a program called a Business Symposium that I've been part of since it started, and we're trying to do the business side of the education, not the technical side. And we're trying to team up with the local guilds and make it good for both, to get the education out there, but also and have an educational template that, hey, we've got this slate of speakers in education. And I think that's good for both, both organizations. And so let's just talk about what's coming up. I've got the symposium. Let's see, I've got the flyer.
So one of the things that I did want to go over is that it doesn't matter how big your company is. These symposiums are just to help owners, and if you want to bring a top manager with you or a manager, it's just to help your business run smoother. You want to stay 2 trucks? Awesome. We don't have any problem with that at all, even though Mark and I have bigger companies. That's just the way we chose to do it. You do it any way you want to do it. It's just we're going to bring people there, not to tell you to show you how to grow your company bigger. It's just to make it more efficient for you so that you can have more time to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're at.
You know, my point is we're all needed. I don't care if you're a 1 truck operation or a 50 truck operation. We are really needed in this day and time. Our knowledge, our ability, our safety concerns is needed. So I don't care if you want to run a 1 truck operation or a 100 truck. I'm all for you. I'll help you any way I can. And I think you're the same way. And there's been this misnomer that because we run larger businesses that we think everybody needs to. I can tell you for sure, I've never said that. I do not believe that. But I do believe in the way I grow a business that if you want to know, I'm going to tell you how I do it. You tell people how you do it. And if they want to do it different, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. But to your point, any size business is good and any size business is okay. You know, don't hate on the big guys. Don't hate on the small guys. We're all on the same team. You know what I mean? So,
100%.
Okay. So let's talk about the upcoming symposium. I'm going to bring this screen up right here. All right. Let me blow this up a little bit. Okay. So I hope you guys can see this. I will put some posts or some links on it. Let's talk about what you guys are doing coming up and the dates and all that.
All right. So it's going to be February 24th and 25th. It's going to be in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. So it's Northern Virginia, and it's going to be at a nice venue. So it's a nice hotel. We've got 8 speakers. They're going to be speaking for 2 days. Some of the speakers are going to be doing 2 classes. My team and Mark's team took a while to choose the right speakers. So we got Tommy Nelms, Jim Brewer. You're going to do a class. Then one of the consultants that I work with in my company, Joanna Quintero, she's processes, culture, and all kinds of great stuff. She's speaking. Hope Stevenson is speaking. John Caesar is speaking. Alan Rush, everybody knows Alan. He's a badass. If you're interested in learning about sales, he's your guy for sure. And then Allison Reynolds, who I believe is a fractional CFO, and she's supposed to be super. I've never seen her speak.
She is. She's great. It's a really great lineup of people. And so on this, I've got that on Thursday, we're going to be talking about career path development, creating a culture of safety, building your leadership team, which is one of my courses, making your business work harder for you by aligning your people and strategy and clients to produce great results. That's a mouthful. Business essentials at the next level, how to save your customers and lift your employees. Friday, delivering the ultimate customer experience, new hire orientation, employee retention. You guys are going to have an auction. I'll talk about that in a minute. Membership and why it matters, which I'm a big fan of that. I'm not sure whose class that is, but I love that.
Tommy's.
That's Tommy's. Yeah, of course it's Tommy's. And Tommy is a great speaker. When he gets passionate, he's really good. Also, you can increase enterprise value today to prepare for the future, and the panel discussion with all the speakers. So, talk about what.
Hope, you forgot it. Name Hope's got a good one, and that's new hire orientation and employee retention.
Yep. Yeah, that was right by the auction. I think I skipped by that. So, yeah. So, you know what's funny? Most people don't realize how big of a business Hope runs. She runs businesses that make all of ours look super small.
Yep.
She is, and she does it without. She's just awesome. So
she's very humble.
I haven't been around Hope Stevenson much. She's a true pleasure to know how to run business.
Let me say a few more things. So. Sure. One of the other, we're going to be doing, it's $399 for 2 days. I think it's cheaper for the second person. I don't have that pricing here, but I think it's cheaper for the second person if you bring them. We're feeding you breakfast and we're feeding you lunch.
Right.
And they're good breakfasts and good lunches because I picked them out. I know that. for your
Oh, you
$399.
picked it out?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that I had to do as president. I, I, I had a lot of different things that I had to do for this particular event. So it's a nice hotel. It's a nice place. You want to bring your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It's a nice hotel in Tyson's. There's lots of things to do around here. Good food. It's going to be great education. And we're also going to be Skyping. We're going to not Skype, Zooming people if they can't come because it's just not going to work out. We're going to offer a Zoom in package.
Okay, cool.
Which is the same. It's going to be the same amount though. That's just the way that it is. But aren't you also going to leave up the entire? We're going to record the whole thing, and then you're going to leave it up on SureFire for whatever 30 or 60 days, whatever you guys decide.
Correct. And I think everybody that signs up in person also gets a recording of everything for 30 days so they can go back if they had to miss something or wanted to show it. I think it's 14 CEUs for this.
Yep.
I just put a link up, and I think this is MACA's website, chimneysafety.org, right?
Correct, sir.
And they can register there or talk to Jim Bostaff. And here's Jim's number, I believe, too, if you need to talk to him. That's what I've got on the flyer. Or no, that's a different number. That's the hotel number. I'm sorry. Jim Bostaff's number, let me create it here real quick, is right there at the bottom of that 757 596 2298.
So the room holds about 100. So we can take 100 in the room and feed 100, for 2 days.
Okay.
I think
we're a little bit limited seating. You should be okay, but if you get a big turnout, it will be limited seating. And then I guess when you register, will he send, if you want to buy the online package, he'll send you a link to log in.
And there'll be a room block. I think they're $149 a night,
Great.
Which is really cheap for the Washington, D.C. Metro.
Yeah, it is. So let's talk about some of the speakers while we're at it. And so a lot of people, I think this might be the first time Joanna, your systems person, has spoken. Can you talk about her and what she's done for your business?
So she's like an MBA. So anybody that's ever dealt with an MBA in their business, they're really big on data, KPIs, organization, and how everything fits together. And what she's done with our company is she's helped us to reach our goals. And I have 3 goals: top, middle, bottom. The middle is our gross profit. She helps us to achieve those goals, helps us to organize. We're like every other company. We're a mess. We are growing, and as we grow, we need to put new positions in place. She's really big on writing up, the entire. I'm skipping the word for it, but when you have a position, you have all the duties of each
job description.
Yes, job descriptions. Sorry. So she's really big on job descriptions, and then those job descriptions are really great when you go to hire. That's about how you're hiring. She's also big on culture, which is one of those things that's hard to put your hands on. Culture, but so important in your company. And I remember when we did a culture gap analysis with her, and she said, at the end of it, she said, "I want to tell you that your company has the best culture of any company that I ever worked with." And I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and she said, and I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, because you don't hold anybody accountable." So that's why they all love it here. They all love it here because everyone's running around doing whatever they want, and it's chaos. But that's exactly what it was. It's the best culture I've ever seen because you don't hold it.
Right.
Yeah, there it is. But she's a smart, super smart person.
So for your company, what has she specifically done? She's just gone in and kind of tightened everything up or made processes around things you were kind of already doing or brought new processes in?
First thing she did is the way that the paperwork goes through the office. Mm-hmm. Once a job is sold, what happens with it? organize that because there was too many steps. So she took steps out. And then we looked at everybody that was involved with all those steps and where there was overlap. So we tore it apart and put it back together again. And we straightened up everybody's job descriptions so we were getting the most out of it. Now, I don't know about you, Mark, but I would never do that. I don't have time for that. You know?
I do it a little bit. It's not my main thing, though. But yeah.
Yeah, well, you probably did because you're smarter. Again, smarter than me.
No.
But we didn't do anything like that. Also, we're getting down to the gnat's ass with, you know, gross profit per man hour. You know, we're looking at that. We're looking at, you know, how are we going to be able to take our gross profit and how are we going to incentivize our employees? She's designing those programs and designed that. She also did a whole project for us on we call it the illustrated growth path, you know, career path. So if you want to be in my company, we have 3 divisions. Really, it's gas in technicians, which is sales, and then installs. So she designed the program and then in installs, we have masonry, and then we have, an installation crew.
Appliances. Mm-hmm.
Well, so it is, but we divide it in 2: masonry and then just regular installation crews.
Gotcha.
So what does a apprentice have to do in order to get to an installer? And then what does and that's all of the tasks, everything. So it's like a checklist. And then what does a installer have to do to become a crew leader? And then what does a crew, and all those have salaries, not salaries, but, you know, wages on each one, because we have a lot of guys that are, I want to raise. Well, can you do this? You haven't done that yet. You know, you can't do that. So then it goes from crew leader to master installer. And a master installer basically is one that can lay a certain amount of bricks and do a certain amount of masonry. And then when you go to masonry, the master is the one that's doing all the liners as well, because I don't know about you, but there's a lot of masonry work that goes on with these liners.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so so that shows us. And once we did that, now it's really easy for us to pinpoint where we need to train.
Right.
And then it's really easy to pinpoint, who we have on our team.
It's also important for somebody coming in to know there's career paths, right? I mean, so many companies, and my company forever. I mean, you came in, you were a chimney sweep, you came work first, you kind of did everything. Like, that was how it was. Like, everybody did everything for the longest time. And as your company grows and as to bring more people in, you know, sometimes there needs to be a path for them that they can get behind, right? So that sounds like she's really doing a good job of not only a path, but also the steps to get to that place.
And the review process of the reviews twice a year. You know, we had a haphazard one, and she whipped one up that is badass and is KBA, known by all. And she speaks Spanish because we've got a handful of Latinos, and the best workers in the world. But communication, even between Caucasians, is a problem at times if people aren't listening. Sure. It certainly is if you're in a market where you've got, some of the best workers that I've ever had are some of my Latino guys. Oh, sure. I've said it for years. I love my Latinos.
Couple comments real quick. Tommy Nelm says he is looking forward to the MACA event. Very excited. Let's see. Chad says he was talking about running a better business. Ben Cross, backing up into what he said earlier, says put together turnkey options for organizations to promote. Figuring out what works and how to do it is easily half the effort for a nonprofit. Right. So he's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Yvette says we were all small guys once. That's right. This whole industry was small guys, and still mostly is 50%. I mean, I don't know what small is. I think we're all small, really, compared to a lot of other industries. Lou Curley said that additional people are 349 because he signed up today for it. So
great.
Thank you, Lou, for telling us that. Chad says our goals of our numbers were achieved last year by intentionally working on culture with some focus on training. Good point. Let's see. Christopher Miller says mise en place. He said it's French term for having all the ingredients measured, cut, peeled, sliced, grated. He's going into before you start cooking. Oh, he's going into cooking.
Yeah, well, I want to eat what he is because he's ripped now.
I know and Christopher, you're watching, man. Watching you like every week, you're a little more like ripped and in shape, and you're all vegan, and you've changed a lot in the last 2 years, man. You're a different guy.
He's still probably an asshole, but
here he
is ripped.
He says he loves organization, so that was his point of making sure everything is lined up. So, and that's what obviously Joanna does for you guys. All right, so let me see here. Mike Fazy says, is this symposium a one-time event or is it going to be repeated in other locations? Thank you for that question, Mike. So it is going to be repeated. It's going to be repeated 3 times total, it looks like. The first time is for MACA on this event we're talking about. The second time is going to be in Nashville at my place in June. And Mike, we're looking for the third place. I'd love something on the West Coast or some regional state guild out there, so we can come out there and put it on out there. There will be different speakers because they're just different time frames and schedules. But in general, we are wanting to put it on a third time, probably in late summer or something like that somewhere. So I'm open. So Mike says, hey, he knows the guy. Okay, so Mike, let's talk about that. It'd be great to do it out of your place and do it out there. All right, what else we got going, Chuck? We got about 10, 15 minutes if we want to keep talking, or what
sure.
else?
Well, one of the things that, what was it that Hope was talking about? So it's the new hire orientation.
Yeah.
And that's something that we weren't good at either. And she is fantastic with this. She's, we can sit here and, blow smoke all day long about Hope and how talented she is. She's very humble, but she's bringing gold with that. And right now it's the big resignation. I mean, people are quitting and they want more money. I mean, it's happening in my company. It's happening all over the country. So we as business owners have to get better at that. I don't know if we're going to be able to get in front of it because it's already happening, but we have to catch up if we want to maintain and retain some of these great people that we've had in our companies, because it's different now. I don't like it at all. I think it's bullshit. But it's here right now. I don't know how long it's going to stay.
Well, my wife, if you follow me much on social media, she retired last week. She's part of that great resignation. She didn't have to. She's not that old, but she wanted to, and she did. And she worked for a big accounting firm, and she's worked for them for 30 plus years. And they were going to ship her job off to India, and she basically was training her own replacements. But then the one other thing was they were going to have her do a vaccine mandate because she works in federal compliance, but she works from home. She was going to have a vaccine to stay home. And between a lot of things, she's like, I don't need it. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. Plus, there's a lot of other side hustles and way to make money. So I think us as business owners, our people, they need flexibility probably more than we've had. They need options more than they've had. I don't know if it's taking the truck home. I don't know if it's working from home. I don't know if it's remote location. I don't know what it is. But for sure, flexibility seems to be a big part of why people are stopping the regular 9-to-5 jobs.
Yep, I agree with you. And we're doing and a good culture. A good culture is a great way to start. And then, like you're talking about, also flexibility, but it's the career path. It's showing them things. It's bringing new people on, and as you're bringing them on, you've got to throw in the extra sauce, the special sauce. and make sure they know it. And it's big on handoffs.
Right. I don't think people are quitting jobs they love. I think they're quitting jobs that they're just doing or they could do without. Like, I don't have any kind of resignation. We've had a long group of people and not had people leave in a long time. They're sticking with, they're sticking through it. They are making better money. It's made me have a better operation, pay more, have more flexibility, but also a rigid enough structure that they can feel like there's a future for them, just like you were talking about you've done in your company. I think for all the crap, it's caused us to have to be better business owners. We have to watch our numbers better. We have to be better educated. When I was just running a one-man operation, it didn't take a lot. When I even ran 3 or 4, I could kind of control it by just watching my checkbook, watching how much was in the bank, kind of feeling it out, and just winging it.
Yeah.
You can't wing it anymore.
No, everything's more expensive. You can't get anything that you want as quickly as you want it. Everything has changed. It's more difficult. And even for the guys with the smaller companies, they're having the same troubles we are.
Right. I mean, I commented on a guy last night on Facebook. He's like, how do you do it when you're already behind for the day, and then you've got to catch up from last week and last month? Like, everything is piling up on you because you've had everybody is, out with COVID, supply chain delays, like all this stuff. And I remember we had this conversation. I had this conversation with my project leaders, and he's like, it used to be this was unacceptable for us because if we told you we're going to do something, we do it. We tell you we're going to be here this day, we were there. Like, that's how we built our name and built our speed. And now customers just have to get used to us we have to just have these conversations all the time. Like, I can't get stone in. I can't get this brick in. I can't get one part of this stove to come in. I got everything else. I can't get the one thing. Like, and then you've got all these other battles. How much do they pay? Like, we got an amazing amount of money out on accounts receivable because of little things we can't finish.
Yep.
It's just like,
it's crazy. And you know where it starts? It starts with the inspector / sales guy with setting customer expectations right off the bat. Right off the bat. Well, where we are. We're having supply chain issues. You can't go in the grocery store and get everything that you want. I can't get everything that I want. So we're going to have to work together, and you're going to have to be patient with us as we move through this process.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. We've had a lot of these conversations. The other day, this lady calls me, and we gave her a bid 3 years ago. And she said, "Hey, I've been saving my money for the bid for the repair that you guys suggested 3 years ago." We're like, well, we've got to come back out and look at it again. And now it's like $2,700 more than it was 3 years ago. And she's all mad at me because she's like, I've been saving for this for 3 years. You need to honor your price, that you gave me, because I've been saying. I said, "Man, there might have been a time when I could go a year or a little more and the price probably stay the same." I said, "Man, we've had 7 or 8 price increases since this year alone, let alone 3 years ago." And at one point, I used to be in the thing of like, well, I'll honor it. I'll make it up. Now I don't have any choice. I'm like, man, you either pay the price or you got to call somebody else. If I do it for that price, I'm doing it for the fun of it. And I'm not in the business for the fun of it.
No, but you have financing.
We do.
She didn't want to do the financing?
Well, you're right. But in her mind, she had all, and I don't even know if it's true. You know how people say stuff. Yeah. But and we of course offer financing, and that helps a lot of deals. That helps a lot of this bridging this gap, saying, "Hey, I get it, but that ship has sailed, years ago." Couple more comments. Let's see. Tommy Nelm says, career path equals a treasure map. That's an interesting way to think about it.
I love it.
Yeah, I do love that. Let's see here. Chad says, you build your employees too with doing what you say. You must do what you promise and to keep the employees. Very true. I mean, for sure. I mean, if you that's rule number one, right? To keep people. If you change what you said, nobody will work for you. Chuck Roydhouse says, be honest and set expectations with the client lessens the stress, right? And now I think too, the honesty is in we don't know. The honesty is in I'm going to give you an idea, but the truth is until it shows up in my doc, I can't tell you for sure that it's going in on this day. We didn't used to have to say that.
No.
Yeah.
No, and then you open up the package and it's got beautiful bubble wrap on it and it looks like it's perfect. And the guy opens it up on the job site and you got broken logs.
Yeah. Or you got to hammer out a corner, or you got to repaint it and you got to show the customer like, hey, this is what do you want it like it is? Or you want me to send it back and wait? Like we've had these conversations. Like my project manager or my production manager, warehouse guy was, in the corner, beating out the corner of a stove that just got kind of dinged on the back end. Wouldn't really affect it, but it's like, do you send this whole thing back because these guys shipping don't care, or do you make it work? You give the customer a discount? Like it's a whole nother world. I can't tell you how much broken stuff is coming in these days. They do not care.
No,
there's no caring. Let's see here. Yvette says, Bob Fawnin, Bob, he's in the retractable awning business as well. He said cost for us is up 25% from 1 year ago. It's funny when I look at most stuff from a couple of years ago, I'm like, wow, that's cheap. Everything seems cheap. You were just telling me about a vehicle you were looking forward to getting.
Yeah.
And it's up $30,000, right? In 1 year.
Yeah. Forget it. I know. I thought, hey, I can get that because I hit my big goal.
Yeah.
No, I can't. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, let's see. It's probably a good coverage of what we're going to do at MACA. Anything else you want to say about that event?
Just again, it's Thursday the 24th, Friday the 25th. It's in the DC area, Northern Virginia, Tyson's Corner. We're going to feed you a nice breakfast both days and a nice lunch both days. And you are going to, drink out of a garden hose. We've got great, not garden hose, sorry. Fire hose. Yeah. That's what we're drinking. Everyone's going to take a little drink. Everyone's going to take a little drink and we're going to use plastic cups. No, we're going to feed you well. And we've got a lot of information. So, bring your manager, your wife, whoever, your husband, whoever is in the business with you. There's too much information for you to try to take back yourself. Mark said it earlier. What he's listening for is not going to be the same as what someone else is going to be listening for. It's worth the money. It's not cheap, but it's not overly expensive at $399.
You'll get your money out of it instantly. What talk real quickly, talk about the auction you guys do and how does that work?
So we do an auction every time we do one of these things. It's one of the things that helps keep stuff cheaper for us as we make money. So clients and suppliers are going to be donating things, Copperfield, National Chimney Supply, New England, everybody's they're going to be donating things. They donate things to us and then we bring a real auctioneer in. It might be just, 30 feet of 6 inch and you're not going to have to take it home with you. We'll give you a little sheet of paper that says, hey, you won this, but you're going to be able to pick up things cheaper, at this auction than you would certainly. And if you're buying it, retail, or even wholesale for us guys. So that's the auction.
You spent some pretty big money at auctions before.
I have, I finally hung those things. I did. I finally hung them. I was going to hang them in my warehouse, but some great, awesome, superheroes in the 5 armed forces.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, finally hung them.
Couple more comments. Yvette says, learning how to speak or relate to a client, explain delays, price increases is a talent. Yeah. She also says, I find blue collar worker clients understand better than white collar. I've had some crazy customers this year, just unreal like expectations and arguments that I've never had before with customers. I don't know, it's just hard. Chad says, question for two guys in the industry that own big companies. What's your most important duty that you do at your company? What's the big one thing? So what's the big one thing you do, Chuck?
I think it would be provide ideas or have the vision, which has the ideas in it. But if I don't pick the point on the horizon that we're going to drive to, that we're going to work towards, then we're not going to get there. We're going to build another building on our property, 15,000 square feet, and put our metal shop and powder coating thing in there. That's big.
Right.
And I pick it. That's the vision and the direction. So,
yeah. I would say very similarly, I do have a couple guys that help me with vision these days. Kent does help me with what we want to do. So I think my big one thing is most mornings I'm there. And then I have a feel for the business. Now I know some owners come in a little bit later, stay later, whatever, have kids. But for me, that morning start was always important for me to kind of be out with the guys. I also want my managers to be out with the guys too, not in their offices or whatever. And I want us to get a feel for that, launching that show. For me, just the way we do it, it's very important to see what they're going through every day, because I get a lot of ideas watching it, and I see also hiccups and problems. And that's where every line of communication crosses in the morning, especially Monday morning, and all the things are happening. And I'm watching my systems work or fail in real time. And so, and then I can go, you know what, we got a personnel problem, we got a system problem, we got how can I fix it? And to me, Chad, to answer your question, the big thing is being there in the mornings. And so, and then vision too, if you don't set vision, everybody will work for a while, but they kind of get burned out. You've got to be the visionary for the company. I remember a couple of years ago when Doug Hetch was running a smaller business, and we were talking, and he's like, man, I figured out what I am in the business. I'm like, what's that? He goes, I'm the visionary. And I said, man, you're too broke to be the visionary. Get back to work.
And so there's a part about being the visionary is you have to be able to explain it and be excited and get people to come into your vision.
Right.
Because if they don't buy into it, forget it. It's done.
And that's an exciting part for me when people come through the blue collar, part of Blue Collar University that I do. The last day is vision casting of what is coming. And I can tell you that's one of the most exciting things that gets, once they can see the plan and see the steps and what's going to happen. And setting the vision is critical to your leadership. And even if you really don't know as a leader, but you're like, hey guys, follow me here. This is what I think is going to work. I got a pretty good track record up to today. If you do, here's where we're going. And you get some people that can't do all the changes, and you got other people that absolutely need it. And those are the ones that'll go fast with you. They trust you, they believe in you.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Last couple things. Yvette, man, she is talking to me tonight. I wish I didn't have to read my phone and I could put it up here. She says, thanks for doing these and sharing these, guys. Means a lot. I got a bolt. Talk to you later. Miss you guys. She says, vision boards rock. Chuck Ward says, thanks, Mark and Chuck. Good show. All right, Chuck Hall, I always appreciate it. I'm going to see you not too long. And
yes.
And I'll come see you guys. I can't wait to do the MACA CSIA Business Symposium.
We really appreciate it. Looking forward to having the CSIA and all these great speakers there.
Yeah.
Appreciate
all right, buddy.
You, Mark.
Thanks. Have a good night.
All right. Take care.
Oh, Chuck is so great. He is just a true trooper of this industry, and he's held every position in the industry up and down, and is always volunteering, been the president of CSIA. as president of MACA, is always a giving guy and also just an amazing speaker too. If you get a chance to hear Chuck, I think he may have calmed down just a little bit in years because early on his topics were hot. So, but he is a real blessing to this industry, and thank you, Chuck, for putting this on, being part of that out there. All right, guys, that's our time. So glad to be back, and thank you guys for all your comments. I got a couple more comments up here. People are saying thanks. The Business Symposium is a fantastic idea. It really is. It's a great, we got a ton of technical training in this industry and we need more of it, but we also need business training. Those two things go hand in hand. One's not more important than the other, but we need them both. So, all right, guys, that's my time. We will talk to you next week. See ya.